If you told me that my perfectly boring Thursday would end with discovering my entire family had stolen my credit card points for a luxury vacation to Dubai, I'd have laughed. Not because it was impossible, but because I knew them. And I should have seen it coming. The day started ordinary. I woke up, did my little morning ritual, brush teeth, pour coffee, swear at the cold tile floor. I made my usual microwave egg sandwich, which I ate standing over the sink like a man with no ambitions beyond breakfast. Then I sat down at my kitchen counter/desk/junk mail depository, opened my laptop, and pulled up my travel rewards tracker. Not because I was going anywhere, I just liked to look. I'd spent the last 3 years hoarding points like a dragon with social anxiety. I had them spread across 5 cards, 3 loyalty programs, and a spreadsheet that could intimidate a CPA. Every gas station swipe, every grocery run, every "should I pay with credit?" moment, all of it fueled a dream trip I hadn't even picked a date for yet. But today the number didn't look right. I blinked. Refreshed the page. Tried a different browser. The balance was the same. 7,192 points. That was impossible. I had over 500,000 last week. Enough for international business class with points left over for hotel upgrades and airport lounges where they hand you champagne like you're someone important. Now, barely enough for a domestic round trip and a bag of peanuts. I scrolled to the transaction history, heart already thudding. Redemption confirmed. 5 round-trip business class tickets. Route LAX-DXB Dubai. Dates: departed last Sunday, return flight scheduled this Friday. Passengers: Marie Langley, David Langley, Claire Langley, Tyler Michaels, Matthew Langley. I didn't need a family tree to connect the dots. Marie and David, my parents. Claire, my sister. Tyler, her man-child boyfriend who still says Doge, unironically. Matthew, my younger brother, golden child, self-proclaimed crypto entrepreneur, with 3 failed startups and a podcast no one asked for. All of them. On a luxury Middle Eastern vacation. Using my points. My jaw dropped so hard I almost chipped a molar on it. The best part? Not a single one of them had said anything. No heads up. No apology. Not even a humble brag. I opened Instagram on reflex. Claire had posted a story. Of course she had. Photo of her by an infinity pool. In a cabana. Holding a mimosa, chill house music playing faintly in the background. And description, of course. Desert luxury with my faves 2 hearts #Langley's in Dubai #family first. I stared at that caption like it had just run over my dog. #family first. That was rich. I was still in my hoodie and basketball shorts, trying to find a clean fork. Meanwhile, they were out there riding camels and sipping mocktails in 5-star hotels built out of imported marble. All funded by the points I'd earned with years of ramen noodles and responsible adulthood. I stood up so fast I knocked my coffee over. The mug clattered against the counter and rolled like it knew it wasn't safe here anymore. I called my mom. She picked up like nothing was wrong. "Sweetheart, are you okay? We were just talking about you last night. Dubai is incredible. Matthew swam with dolphins. Claire cried at brunch. Too much saffron, I think." "Mom," I said, voice flat. "Why are there 5 business class tickets to Dubai on my credit card points?" She paused. For a full second. "Oh," she said, in that overly chipper tone she used when she was about to gaslight someone. "Well, we figured you'd help." "You figured I'd help?" "Yes. You're so good with those travel things. And we didn't want to bother you while you were busy. And anyway, it's not like we used your money. Just your points." My eye twitched. "Mom, that was 500,000 points. That's like 10 grand of value. You can't just log in and redeem my life savings in plane tickets like it's a Costco sample tray." She sighed like I was the unreasonable one. "Aiden, don't be dramatic. You're always traveling. You had the points. We wanted to see the world together. Without me. Well, we weren't sure you'd want to go." I let that sink in. They used my points, excluded me from the trip, and then rationalized it with, "You're always so busy." And that's when I felt it. That shift. The emotional switch from disbelief to resolve. They treated me like a vending machine for years. Scan the goods, son, barcode, press B7, and get unconditional support. But not this time. This time? They messed with the wrong nerd. "Okay," I said quietly. "You figured I'd help." "Exactly," she chirped. "Well," I said, smiling now, "then let me help you a little more." And I hung up. I opened my laptop again, this time not to check points, but to access their itinerary. Because if they wanted to fly high on my generosity, then it was only fair they learn how it feels to land without it. The thing you need to know about my family is this: they don't ask. They assume. And they've always assumed I'd help, because I always did. When the car insurance mysteriously lapsed, I covered it. When Matthew's startup imploded and left him with 3 maxed out credit cards, I paid one off to keep his credit from flatlining. They called it support. I called it damage control. Once, Claire threw a graduation party and forgot to budget for chairs, food, and an actual venue. I covered that too. She thanked me with a text that said, "You de best, Whiteheart." At some point, I stopped hoping they'd pay me back. I just hoped they'd remember. They never did. My parents always fawned over Claire and Matthew like they were one viral moment away from being household names. Claire ran a semi-successful lifestyle blog that peaked during the great air fryer boom. Matthew was still trying to make his 4th crypto project go viral, even though the last one got flagged as inspired by, read, stolen from a Reddit post. Me? I was the one they called when the Wi-Fi broke. When the thermostat blinked. When tax season hit and no one remembered their login info. Dad once said I was reliable like a dishwasher. I don't even think he meant it as an insult. When I got promoted last year, doubled my salary, they barely blinked. I mentioned it over dinner and was interrupted by Claire screaming about a TikTok recipe that exploded her follower count. Then came Christmas. Claire got a Dyson Air app. Matthew got limited edition sneakers he'd been hinting at since October. I unwrapped an electric toothbrush from the clearance bin. Sticker still on it. Mom smiled. "Dental health is important." I laughed it off. That's what I did. Took the hit, made the joke, moved on. But the points? That was the one thing I'd kept for me. I didn't go clubbing. I didn't DoorDash every meal. I stacked rewards like it was a religion, meal prepping pasta for weeks just to hit minimum spends for new bonuses. Every point represented effort. So when they burned over 500,000 of them on a business class Dubai vacation, without asking? That wasn't a mistake. That was a message. It said, "You'll always be the backup plan." I opened Instagram again. Not because I wanted to, but because I knew they'd post. Claire had uploaded a reel. Slow pan across a private beach. Then them in the back of a stretch SUV. Champagne. Sand dunes. Camels. Music bumping. Caption: "Luxury is a love language, kiss mark, #Langley's in Dubai, #family first." I stared at it until the corners of my vision blurred. Not because I was hurt. Because I was done. They hadn't just taken something valuable. They'd taken it, bragged about it, and didn't even bother to lie. That's when I opened their booking. The itinerary was still live, they'd used my email, and hadn't changed a thing. Departure from Dubai, Friday at 3:45 p.m. Route, DXB JFK LAX. Emirates Business Class. Fully refundable. Fully modifiable. Just one little button that said, "Modified booking." I stared at it. Then clicked. Time to help myself to a little justice. I don't know if you've ever stared at a modified booking button while angry, but I'll tell you, it changes a person. I clicked it. Not impulsively. Not recklessly. Surgically. My family's original return flight? A non-stop Emirates business class trip from Dubai to JFK, then a short hop home to LAX. Lavish. Efficient. Painless. No. That wouldn't do. First, I cancelled the return legs entirely. Emirates let me do it since the tickets were technically mine, booked through my rewards account, my email, my login. No security questions. No drama. Just one box that said, "Would you like to refund this leg to your account?" I clicked yes. Suddenly, I had a new batch of points in my account. Not 500k, those were long gone. But enough for something. I sat back, took a sip of now cold coffee, and pulled up flight options. My criteria were simple. They had to arrive home eventually. They had to suffer. It had to be legal. So I rebooked them. Not on Emirates. Not even on the same continent. First leg? Dubai to Istanbul. 5-hour red-eye. No meal service. Back row. Layover in Istanbul, 12 hours. Airport seats with no padding. Charging outlets that barely work. Wi-Fi that disconnects every 15 minutes. Second leg, Istanbul to Frankfurt. Short flight. No carry-on allowance. Claire's designer purse would count as a personal item, and she'd have to choose between that and her self-care blanket. Layover in Frankfurt? 9 hours. Overnight. Cold. Miserable. Final leg, Frankfurt to LAX. Economy. Middle seats. No upgrades allowed. And cherry on top, a 45-minute window to go through customs before boarding, practically a guaranteed missed connection. Estimated travel time, 46 hours, not including delays. I sat back and smiled. But I wasn't done. Oh no. I called the airline's customer service and said I'd like to notify the passengers of their revised itinerary. Just to be nice. They emailed all 5 of them updated confirmations. New flight details. New layovers. New reality. Then I blocked everyone and went for a walk. It was a beautiful day. Birds chirping. The sun warmed my face. I bought myself an iced coffee with oat milk and a smug sense of justice. That evening, Claire posted a video of her in a gold dress at some rooftop lounge in Dubai. Caption: "Last night in paradise. Going to miss this view so much, loudly crying face." Oh, sweet Claire. You'll have plenty of time to reflect. On an airport bench in Frankfurt. At 2 a.m., wrapped in your now crumpled self-care blanket, like a sad burrito of entitlement. The next morning it began. The texts. "Mom. Aiden, there's something wrong with our flights. I think there's been a mistake. Dad. Did you change something on the return itinerary? Please call ASAP. Claire. What the heck is this? Why are we going to Turkey? Tyler. Bro. Be real. Matthew didn't message. He tweeted. Nothing like airport chaos to ruin your vibe. Thumbs down, travel industry equals broken. I didn't respond. Instead, I sat on my couch, cracked open a Coke Zero, and turned on Home Alone 2. The part where Kevin tricks the hotel into giving him the penthouse suite felt incredibly relatable. Except this time, I wasn't the kid left behind. I was the one who made the booking. The first meltdown hit around 11 p.m. Dubai time, or as I like to call it, popcorn o'clock. I was already in bed, half watching a video essay about medieval revenge plots, when my phone started vibrating like it had a personal vendetta. First Claire. Then Mom. Then Claire again. Then Matthew, who hadn't said a word in 2 days, suddenly discovered the power of the caps lock. I didn't answer. But I read every message like it was dessert. Claire. There's no business class anymore. You seriously think I'm flying 17 hours in coach? Mom. Aiden. This isn't funny. We have 2 layovers now. 12 hours in Turkey? What are we supposed to do there? Matthew. Bro. Be for real. This is actually insane. I don't do stopovers. And my personal favorite, a voicemail from Dad, trying to sound calm but unraveling by syllable. Aiden. I don't know what kind of message you're trying to send here, but it's not appreciated. This isn't just inconvenient, it's cruel. Your mother is beside herself, Claire is in tears, and Tyler's threatening to stay behind in Dubai permanently. Please. Fix this. I replayed that last line a few times. Fix this. Right. Like I was the one who broke it. The best part? I wasn't even home. I was at my friend Jay's place, watching the chaos unfold on his smart TV while we ate microwave nachos and ranked their Instagram stories like they were reality show confessionals. Jay nearly spit out his drink when he saw Claire's latest post. Close-up selfie of her, red-faced in what looked like an airport bathroom. Nothing about this is luxury. Nothing about this is love. My body is breaking down. She looked like she'd fought the vending machine and lost. I opened Twitter just to check. Yep, Matthew was spiraling. Economy seats are a war crime. Never again. Manifesting teleportation in 2025. Meanwhile, Tyler posted a single photo, his feet propped on a suitcase, glaring at the departure board with the caption, "Who books 12-hour layovers?" loudly crying face. You do, Tyler. You do. They ended up stuck in Istanbul's airport lounge for a solid 11 hours, and not even the good one. The budget one with flickering lights and unlimited snacks that turned out to be 3 pretzel sticks and instant coffee. Claire tried to ming me on Instagram. Is this your idea of payback? Really? After all we've done for you? All they've done for me? Was that supposed to be a joke? They'd literally stolen the reward points I'd spent years building, just so they could wear linen in the desert and pretend Tyler was a crypto king. Nah. I left the message unseen. When they finally boarded their flight from Frankfurt to LAX, the mood on Instagram had shifted. No more cute captions. No more rooftop selfies. Just silence. And then, the final twist. Their checked bags didn't make the connection. Claire's suitcase, the one she bragged about for being smart luggage, with Bluetooth, ended up in Warsaw. Matthew's bag apparently rerouted to Manchester, England. Tyler's? No clue. He blamed airport energy. When they finally landed in L.A., Claire posted one more story. Photo of her, in a hoodie she clearly bought from an airport gift shop. And description. Next time I travel, I'm doing it my way. I almost replied, good idea. But I didn't. Because honestly, nothing I could say would beat what life just delivered. I spent that night with Jay again. We raised a toast to their return. A warm beer for him. A ginger ale for me. First-class pettiness for all. They'd been home less than 6 hours when the first voicemail came through. Aiden, honey, I think we need to talk. What you did, it's not like you. We raised you better than this. It was a misunderstanding. I really hope you don't think we did anything malicious. Malicious? They used my points like I was Expedia with a pulse. No one ever called to ask. No one even sent a thanks for the ride. They just did what they always did, assumed I'd say yes. This time I didn't. And now they were spiraling. The group chat that had been quiet for most of the week exploded. Mom, we're all back. Exhausted. No bags. This wasn't funny, Aiden. Claire, you went too far. That return flight broke my back. I'm seeing a chiropractor Monday. Matthew, bet you feel real clever. Enjoyed being blocked. Tyler, unsubscribe me from your life, bro. Dad, call me. This isn't over. Me. I helped. Just like you figured I would. 10 seconds later, my phone rang. Dad. I let it go to voicemail. Another call. Mom. This time, I picked up. Aiden, she began, already in that breathless, emotional mode. We didn't mean to hurt you. You didn't mean to tell me either. It wasn't like that. No? Then what was it like, Mom? Because from where I'm sitting, it was 5 first-class tickets booked behind my back. It wasn't first class. She snapped, quick to correct. It was business. Oh. My bad. Thanks for being modest while stealing. Silence. Then the guilt trip arrived on schedule. We just wanted to do something nice. As a family. You're always traveling alone. You said you wanted us to explore the world. Not on my tab. We didn't think you'd notice. You didn't think I'd notice 500,000 points disappearing? Her tone shifted fast. Softer. Strategic. Aiden. We made a mistake. We should have asked? But the way you handled it, rerouting us through Turkey, stranding us in Frankfurt overnight, that wasn't okay either. Was it uncomfortable? Of course. Good. It should have been. That's not fair. What's not fair is you using me like a free booking service. What's not fair is you deciding I didn't need those points because you wanted a vacation. Her voice cracked. You could have just told us no. You never gave me the chance. I let that hang in the air. For once, she didn't interrupt. You didn't ask, I said, quieter now. You just assumed. Like always. That I'd help. That I wouldn't say anything. That I'd suck it up and smile. Aiden, your family? I laughed. That only seems to mean something when you need something. Another pause. Then the voice she saved for church potlucks and funeral receptions, warm, regretful, theatrical. We were wrong. But we still love you. That one hit different. It always does when someone weaponizes love after crossing every line. You don't get to use love like whiteout. More silence. Then, so, what happens now? You find a new way to book your next trip. And I hung up. I stared at the wall for a moment, heart pounding in that weird adrenaline after confrontation haze. It wasn't triumph I felt. It was peace. Like I'd finally set the boundary I'd been too tired, or too loyal, to draw before. Later that night, Claire texted me one last time. You're not family anymore. I stared at it for a second. Then screenshotted it and saved it in a folder labeled Evidence of Growth. Then I opened my travel app, checked my restored points balance, and booked myself a 2-night hotel stay. Ocean view. King bed. No guests. They said I went too far. But maybe too far is exactly how far I needed to go, just to feel like I finally belonged to myself. They gave it a week. A full 7 days of silence. No texts. No calls. No, we miss you. Guilt-bait posts from Mom's Facebook account. And just when I started to think they might leave it alone, that maybe, just maybe, they'd realized what boundaries meant, the envelope arrived. Not a letter. An envelope. Cream-colored. Heavy. The kind of stationery that screams professional guilt trip. The return address? Sandra Marks, Estate Mediation and Family Resolution. I stared at it like it had personally insulted me. Inside was a 3-page packet titled, Rebuilding Trust Through Structured Dialogue. I almost laughed. A mediator? They'd hired a mediator? Or, more likely, Claire had found some wellness-certified, high-emotion facilitator, who specializes in trust falls and talking sticks. I flipped to the last page. The Langley family has expressed interest in reconnecting with Aiden in a safe, constructive space, to begin a healing conversation. Healing? They weren't sorry I'd been hurt. They were sorry I'd made it public. The Dubai fallout had gotten around, mostly thanks to Claire's passive-aggressive Instagram captions and Matthew's ongoing Twitter tantrums. A few mutuals even messaged me privately. Bro, whatever you did, respect. Tell me your petty secrets. I aspire to this level of revenge. Please start a travel blog called Points of No Return. I'd follow. I tossed the mediation packet on the counter and turned on a Miles Davis record. Not because I'm fancy, but because the trumpet was smooth, and my apartment had never felt more mine. No family interruptions. No calls asking for a quick favor. No Claire asking for help moving candles for a launch party. Just me, a couch, and the deep satisfaction of having finally said no, and meaning it. That night I booked a flight. Not a revenge trip. Not a rebound vacation. Just a trip for me. 3 days in Vancouver. A little cabin near the coast. No itinerary, no pressure. Just ocean air and silence. The kind I didn't have to earn. The next day, another letter. This one? From Dad. Typed but signed in pen. Aiden, I'll be honest. I don't know what to say. I'm not good with feelings. But I miss my son. And if there's any way to fix this, not with a mediator, just as people, I'd like to try. I sat with that for a while. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't manipulative. But it still wasn't enough. Because you can't fix a cracked foundation with a handwritten note and some half-cooked remorse. Not when you built that foundation on the belief that one kid was a wallet with legs, and the other two were royalty. Later that night, I got a Venmo notification. From Mom. $15. 00. For coffee or something. I stared at it stunned. Was this her apology? Her way of making it right? A $15 payout after stealing over 10 grand in point value? I declined the payment with a note. Coffee's on me. Flights are not. I haven't heard from them since. And honestly, it's been the quietest my soul has felt in years. The trip to Vancouver is tomorrow. No drama. No group chat. No backup plans. Just me, a suitcase, and the knowledge that I finally stopped bending to be the good son. I didn't need a family mediator. I needed space. And I gave it to myself. I was rolling up socks and trying to decide if bringing my nicer shoes to Vancouver made me a fraud or just prepared when the text came in. Claire, you really not gonna talk to us ever again? No filters. No emojis. No passive-aggressive sarcasm like usual. Just lowercase vulnerability and a quiet question. It sat on my screen like a landmine. I stared at it longer than I should have. Not because I didn't have an answer, but because I had too many. The version of me from a year ago would have replied instantly. Would have tried to smooth it over. Maybe even apologized for going too far, just to keep the peace. But that version was gone. Still, something about the way she wrote it, no punctuation, no performative fluff, hit differently. Before I could stop myself, I typed back. Would you have told me if I hadn't noticed? 5 minutes passed. Then 10. I started to wonder if she'd bailed mid-convo, like she used to when she couldn't win. Then my phone buzzed again. Probably not. I thought you'd be mad. But not like this. I stared at those words for a long time. Not like this. So I asked myself, what exactly did she expect? Maybe a lecture. Maybe some dramatic unfollowing. Maybe a temporary silent treatment, followed by a Christmas gift and a shrug. What she definitely didn't expect was consequences. Another message followed. You've always been so calm. It's like nothing ever got to you. There it was. Not a compliment. A reason. She wasn't saying I was resilient. She was saying I was convenient. The kind of person you could wrong because you knew he wouldn't flip a table about it. That hit harder than any of her. You went too far. Posts ever did. So I replied. Just because I stayed quiet doesn't mean I wasn't keeping score. Her red receipt appeared instantly. No reply for a while. Then finally. I didn't mean to hurt you. I was just tired of asking for permission. Everything with you always feels like paperwork. Wow. There it was. My entire relationship with my family, in one half sentence. I wasn't the brother. I was the manager. The admin. The reliable guy who made things happen, quietly, neatly, invisibly. I laughed. Not the happy kind, the kind where your body doesn't know what else to do. And I sent the only reply that felt right. Then this is me turning in my resignation. Scene closed. I didn't block her. I didn't follow up. I just turned my phone off, zipped up my bag, and breathed deeper than I had in months. At the airport, I checked in early. No chaos. No bags full of other people's drama. Just me in a window seat, aisle 14, left side, no one in the middle. I looked out across the tarmac as the plane pulled back from the gate. And for the first time in forever, I didn't feel like I had to justify anything to anyone. Not why I said no. Not why I took back what was mine. Not why I stopped playing the role they wrote for me. I didn't feel victorious. I felt whole. There's this weird stillness that happens when you finally stop waiting for someone else to say, "You matter," and just say it to yourself instead. As the wheels left the runway, I pulled out my notebook and wrote one line. The best revenge is peace. Then I underlined it. Twice. And started planning my next trip, solo of course. 2 weeks after I got back from Vancouver, I checked the old family group chat. Not because I missed it. Just curiosity. Like looking at a burned-out house and wondering what color the curtains used to be. The chat was quiet. No updates. No. Claire's new brand launch. Texts. No pictures of Matthew's latest crypto advisory panel, which was just him and Tyler drinking overpriced coffee and saying words like Synergy. Mom had changed the group name from Langley Legends to just Family. No sparkle. No legend. It felt accurate. I hadn't talked to any of them since Claire's text. No birthday check-ins. No, we miss you. Forwards from Dad. Not even a forwarded meme from Mom, which, honestly, was the clearest red flag. But I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I was light. Lighter than I'd been since I was 15 and started babysitting my own siblings while my parents went on wine weekends. A few days later, I got an email from Chase. You've earned 65,000 bonus points. Apparently, they were running a promotion, and my last 3 trips had triggered some kind of VIP multiplier. I grinned. It felt like the universe quietly nodding. You're on the right path. So I did what I do best. I logged in, opened the rewards portal, and booked something. Not flashy. Not performative. Just me, a small eco-lodge in Northern Oregon, and a stack of books I've been pretending to read for years. As I finalized the reservation, a message popped up on my phone. A new contact request. From Tyler. Just said, Yo. I stared at it for a second, smiled, and hit ignore. Not out of spite. Just policy. Some doors don't need to be slammed. They just stay closed. As I shut my laptop, I looked around my apartment, the one I paid for, cleaned, decorated, and lived in without anyone asking if I could co-sign just one little loan. And I laughed. Out loud. Because I realized something wild. I hadn't lost my family. I just stopped subsidizing it. And honestly, best booking I ever made.